Welcome back to Best in Show Books. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Gina.
We're here at Naughty Dog Books in Nashville, Indiana, and today's episode is our May Book Club recap.
And we have got 4 books for you today. So if you like any of the books, or you've read any of them, or you want to check out some of our show notes down below for the links, please do that. But don't forget to like and subscribe so you can always keep up with what we're doing and you don't miss us. And we're going to start with our historical fiction, which is my book club that I lead. And today we are doing The Jackal's Mistress, Chris Bojalian, which if you remember, we did The Lioness a few episodes back, and it's the same author. And wow, I am so impressed with this author. And I'm so glad that we read The Lioness, because then this popped up on our radar. And this is an amazing book. A little different for some of you who are in the historical fiction world that think World War II is the only thing anybody writes about. It's not. This one is set in the Civil War, which is really cool backdrop. And it's a little different. And this one is loosely based on a true story of a Confederate lady, and she takes in a Union soldier. So in this story, it is Libby Stedman, and it's 1864. And they live on a farm that is a mill. And then there's a Union captain. I get my Civil War, Confederate Union captain who's injured, and he is left behind in a house that's really close to their farm. And he's hollering out the window after he's been shot, and they've left him. Like, his soldiers have left him. Yes. Because they thought he was going to die and they had to move on. And so they left him some drugs and some water, and they're like,
good luck.
Yeah. So he's yelling out the window to try to get help. She's a freed slave now. So Libby's family actually freed their slaves. And so they have a couple of them that still live with him, and she hears the cry, and they go check him out, and they realize that he's very badly injured but still alive. So Libby opts to take him home with her. It's a very interesting story because you have this, not widow, because she doesn't know where her husband is. He's been in a camp, and they have no idea if he's dead or alive. And then you have this Union soldier that's possibly part of the army that's captured him. And so it's a beautiful story of loyalty and love and friendship. And The Jackal's Mistress has a meaning, and it describes a bullet. It's the last bullet that you're left with in case you're caught and you have to.
Oh.
And so the Jackal then becomes his name because there's a niece that lives with him, and she's brilliant and adorable and smart alecky. But she starts to make friends with him kind of in a passive aggressive way, but she always calls him the Jackal. So it's just the story is so good. And Chris Bojalian is really good at finding, I want to say the dark side, but it's not necessarily that it's the evil side. It's that underbelly of the human nature. It's one of those stories that as you read it, there's so many layers to it. It's not just the Union and Confederate. It's a love story, but it's a forbidden love story. And it's the human nature of these are people, right? Even in war, they're human beings, and they learn that about each other. And sometimes it's a little gray area in why we're fighting this war, and where the freed slaves fit in, and how they feel about it, and how they're treated even as freed slaves. It's a really amazing story. You get a lot of history. It takes place around Harper's Ferry. That's where they're at as far as location goes. And so I looked things up because I couldn't remember all the details behind Harper's Ferry. He does put a lot of detail in there, so you do know. And there's real characters, like real soldiers mentioned. So
oh, wow.
It's really neat. I highly recommend it. Our book club loved this one.
Oh, good.
Absolutely loved this one. I was a little afraid when I picked it because it's a little different, and it's a little, I don't want to say gorier, but it's a little grittier of a story because of the Civil War, but they loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And I think even The Lioness was also a little grittier, and that must just be his thing. I mean, making the atmosphere, the environment, the surroundings kind of a character, because if this story took place probably anywhere else, it might not have had the same effect. But being so close to the Mason-Dixon line, and Union, Confederate, you've got that diametrically opposed sides,
absolutely.
And then not to mention you're going to add in the freed slave aspect. Where do they fit in, and where do their alliances lie, and do they feel like they have any alliances? Wow.
It's a really good
a lot
story.
In there.
And there's like in the Lioness where you had Africa. Well, they describe, putting him in a wagon and carrying him back to the house, and the ruts, and him bouncing, and he's shot, and you're like, he's not even going to make it because he's going to die from the bouncing in the wagon. Right. And so you have all of that in there too. He's really good at making the whole picture seemed very real, and I really enjoyed it. He
Good.
might be one of my new favorite authors. To check out some of his old stuff and look forward to the new stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
That we discovered.
Yes, that you discovered that.
Yeah,
well, it was on my TBR, but I'm glad you recommended,
right.
pushed, and we're like, we're gonna read this.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the next book might be a good summer read.
Definitely. The next book we're going to discuss is our fantasy book club pick, The Sirens by Amelia Hart. This was a very, if you can tell by the cover. So it's talking about sirens, which if you think back to like the Odyssey, these women who lure men to their deaths, that's like the lore of it. And so it starts in present day-ish, 2019, Australia. And Lucy is on the run for something, and it tells you on the jacket, but I don't want to give you too much detail. So she ends up like going to her sister who lives across Australia. Okay. And so when she gets there at the address that her sister gave her, which she's never like been there before, and I believe they were out of contact, she gets there, the house is like totally run down, like holes in the floor and like tarps. And so her sister is obviously gone, and she finds a diary of her sister. And so she starts reading the diary. So part of the story is what has happened to Lucy in the modern day timeline, the 2019, Jess, her sister's diary. And then it goes back to the 1800s. And you have two other sisters who are traveling from Ireland, their homeland of Ireland, to Australia on like a convict ship. Amelia Hart does an excellent job and is so talented at weaving these multi-timeline character narratives together. And if you read her first book, Wayward, The Sirens is kind of no exception in how she seamlessly weaves them in. I read this book actually a while ago before it came out, and I read it on the beach, and it was like so perfect and summery. So I definitely do think this is a summery read. But the group did enjoy it. They liked it. They like Amelia Hart. I will say the group preferred the past timeline, the 1800s. There was a lot going on there. You had these two young girls who are taken from their home, and they're traveling on this ship, and so they meet a bunch of other women, and it's really dirty, and dark, and just like a rough situation. There are men on board, obviously. And so that was a very compelling storyline. And not that the modern day wasn't, but I will also say that I preferred the past storyline. But overall, they did enjoy The Sirens, and Amelia Hart, I feel like I would read, I don't know, a restaurant menu or something. She's a great writer. Yes. And this one is definitely worth your time.
I'm really looking forward to reading this because I loved Wayward. I loved Wayward. I thought it was so good, and her writing style. So I'm really looking forward to this, and maybe I'll get to it this summer.
Yeah. Well, the ideal reading schedule would be The Sirens in summer and then Wayward in fall.
Yeah, it has a fall feel.
It's very witchy. Yeah, it's very fall. So
it is, and that's why I read it. I was hoping to maybe choose it for a fall historical fiction, but it fell way too close to the fantasy. Yeah, but I still loved it. Absolutely loved it, and I highly recommended it to my book club just because I was like, and they almost all have read it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I highly recommend this author, and I'm glad you liked the book.
Yeah. And I really liked the whole sirens aspect of it because I feel like that's not something that I have read about a lot. I mean, I've read the Odyssey, but...
So are they similar to the Odyssey sirens?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
But I will say...
We just read that Odyssey, so...
for school?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will read this little snippet at the end, if I can find it. Okay, here it is. As Lucy awaits Jess's return, strange rumors surrounding her sister's small town start to emerge. Numerous men have disappeared at sea. A tiny baby was found hidden in a cave, and sailors tell of hearing women's voices on the waves. So all three of those things tie into all three of the timelines.
Okay.
So it's very well done, very well crafted. I recommend it. I liked it.
I'm excited.
So next, our group is reading it. Our Classics Book Club is reading it for summer. You might not think it's a summer read, but with accountability and determination, anything can be a summer read. So what is it, Gina?
Well, they're taking 2 months to read Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. It is a big book, a beautiful book, by the way. In case you can't tell, it's got this gold leaf. It's just so shiny and sharp. And I love the edges. The cover. The cover, the inside is beautiful. Yeah. But it kind of reflects what's going on in the book, which is, it's Russian, yes, but there's a lot of wealth. There's a lot of beauty. There's a lot of over the top, I don't know, aristocratic things that happen in this book. So this book feels very old and classic. And so it was a beautiful copy. I'm glad she picked this one. So Anna Karenina, I have read it a very long time ago. I did it when Oprah was doing her book club. I mean, that's really saying a lot. And she encouraged to read it. And I'm glad I did. It took me an entire summer to read it. I will admit.
So
it took me an
entire
entire
must
summer.
Be a summer read.
It's a summer read. So our book club is taking June and July, right? June and July. And so Anna Karenina is the wife of Karenin, which it's a language thing that we don't understand. And
so we think surmising and knowing very little about Russian literature or language.
Yes.
Karenina must be the feminine suffix.
Because they call him, it's Karenin when she marries him, and they call him Karenin.
Yeah.
And he is like 20 years older than she is. It's a love story, but it's also, it's a saga because there are other families. You have not just the aristocrats, but you have some of like the farmers, the things they go through, not having wealth, but being associated with the people who have wealth. And Arthur's here today to enjoy these books with us. And so Anna, when she marries Karenin, I think it's convenience, but she's also status. She's going to have wealth. But then he kind of, because he's 20 years older, just kind of like, yeah, you're cute. Let's just keep moving on. And she's looking for companionship and true love. And she meets Vronsky.
Oh boy.
And Vronsky is a soldier who's charming and just woos her. And so you follow their love story. And it's not just like a year's love story, years. Highly recommend it. It's a beautiful story. It is just deep and it's long. It's a saga. So I'm excited to see what their book club thinks about it, because it's kind of it's different. It's a classic, but it's not Jane Austen, and it's not what East of Eden is what they did last.
Yeah,
so
East of Eden.
This falls nowhere in between.
Right. And I was talking to the leader of this book club yesterday, and I said, how's it going? And she was like, well, I'm like 14% in or something. And I was like, you better get going, better get cracking. But she said that she had actually picked Anna Karenina as a choice because she read a review of a friend who said that she felt like I hope I don't butcher this, that the love affair between Anna and Count Vronsky was really well done, but not lurid.
No,
like she said, it was not explicit. And that was something that she was worried about going into it. And personally, like knowing nothing about it, that's what I assumed, but
it's not.
So
it's not about the physical. She's just looking, because Karenin is so much older and she feels so separated from him. They start leading very literally separate lives, like even where he lives and where he travels, and she's at home. And then Vronsky comes along and they're close to age, and it's a friendship, but it's also an intimacy of relationship, not just an intimacy and physical. And I don't agree with that. I'm not going to say that, but it's well done as far as the why and how it plays out. But I love that it's not just the two of them. There are so many characters and 2 or 3 other families that you follow through this journey that are all connected, very much so all connected. I don't want to say Tale of Two Cities, similar, but they all have a place in the story. Like if you read Tale of Two Cities, there's so many, or Les Mis, they have, there's lots of things that play into Vronsky and Anna's story and where they come from and how they progress. Just know it's going to take you a hot minute to read it.
Yeah.
Or 3 or 4 months.
Our last book club pick is Mystery Thriller. And this is actually the store's oldest book club. We've been going since the store opened, so 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Arthur's here; he's not moving. So
and there's the dog glitter.
Yeah.
If you see the little fuzzies flying around, that's dog glitter.
It is unbearable. He sheds so much. And when we got him, we were like, "Oh, what a nice short-haired dog!" But it's like, okay. So the mystery book club pick is Someone in the Attic by Andrea Mara. And wowzers, this was something else. So it starts off in the first chapter and it'll be like 3 minutes before. Anya is in the tub. She's like having a glass of wine. She's reading a magazine. She hears something above her, goes back to her magazine. 2 minutes before, something else. Like Anya closes her eyes and relaxes in the tub. 1 minute before, 30 seconds after, Anya is dead. And it
was gripping.
When I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never taking a bath again. And so the story after Anya dies in like 2 pages goes to her friend Julia was Anya's childhood friend along with 2 other ladies. And Julia has just moved back to Ireland where the story takes place. She brought her 2 children with her and her ex-husband. And they have kind of an unconventional setup. The children don't move houses, but the parents do. Am I explaining that right?
Yes.
So they have a home and then the parents alternate between the home and the apartment. But they have a very cordial relationship. She and the ex-husband, they get along very well. And so one night, Julia has a teenage daughter and she's like, Mom, look at this. Look on my phone. And as moms do, Julia is busy. She can't look at on the phone. She's trying to order a pizza, if I remember. And they also have a young son who has a rabbit named Basil or Basil. And so the daughter is really, really pestering her. Mom, no, seriously, look at this. And so she gives her the phone and she looks at it. And it looks like a view of someone coming down from an attic. And the mom, Julia, is like, what am I looking at? And the daughter says, this is our house. And the daughter is like, keep watching. And so Julia's like, this is not our house. But then as the footsteps come down into the attic and walking through the hallway, Julia keeps trying to rationalize. Lots of houses have beige carpet. This is a very common layout. And then the video pans over like artwork, I think, on the wall. And Julia is like, oh my goodness, this is our house. So the story is they are trying to figure out what is someone in the attic. And of course they go and check and there's no one there, which adds to the whole mystery of it. How did this video happen? And so there are multiple videos. There are multiple strange occurrences in the home, in their little neighborhood, in the group of friends where Anya has died. And then there's Julia, all kinds of mystery. And this was the first book I read by Andrea Mara.
I think it's her debut.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
It's the first one I read.
I think
it is her US debut. Yeah. And I would 100% read something else by her. It was such like a popcorn thriller. I feel like I did probably read it in like a day and a half. I just sat down and blew through it. Yeah. And it was so tense.
Yes.
And one thing that I thought she did so expertly well, I thought I had it all figured out. I was like, okay, this book is, oh no, he's going to land the camera. He always does this. Uh-oh. Okay. Aftershocks. Of all the places he could lay, he chooses right on the tripod leg.
Must be comfortable.
So anyways, I thought I had it all figured out. And I was really like, I just can't help it that I'm a genius. But then I was wrong and made to feel like a fool. I was like, I thought I had it all figured out.
I think she did a really good job with there are lots of other characters that come in from the neighborhood they make friends with. And you're like, oh, that has to be him. Right. Oh, that has to be her.
That's the person. That's the person. They're guilty.
And there's a backstory of a friend, Donna, who dies when they're young. And so it kind of culminates, like they bring the timelines together and you kind of think, okay, so it's going to be something to do with this Donna and, their friend grew. But each chapter, when it ends on a cliffhanger, the next chapter picks right up and kind of solves that cliffhanger. So you're not like, oh, you end on a chapter and then something else. So I think she did a really good job because it makes you want to go to the next chapter and you feel satisfied that you went to the next chapter. So I enjoyed this one.
The structure of it does make it really hard to put down.
Yes.
And you also, throughout the story, Julia and her family, they have left the United States for some reason. And you don't find out until like the end. It really does tease you along with that too.
Yeah,
so
I forgot about that. I don't know why I forgot about that storyline.
Right.
But there's so many things happening that it does keep you, I think I've got it. Right. Oh, no, I don't. I think I've got it. No, I don't. I'll tell you though, the rabbit kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time because the rabbit has a place in this story through the whole thing.
And to allay your fears, the little boy does have a rabbit. And I was really like kind of in dread that something bad was going to happen to the rabbit. But it's not a spoiler, but don't worry, nothing bad happens to the rabbit.
No.
But I was like kind of sick to my stomach at sometimes because like how many stories have you read where somebody has a little innocent pet and then like something bad happens to it. And then I'm like, oh no. So thankfully, no. Rabbit is.
So you're safe to read the rabbits.
Yeah.
The rabbit's okay. The rabbit makes it.
So Someone in the Attic, Andrea Mara's US debut, highly recommend it.
I do. So that was our May recap, our book clubs, all 4 of them. We hope you enjoyed our chat of these books. And if you have read any of the authors, read any of these actual books, please drop us a comment below and let us know your thoughts on them. Or if you are going to check them out yourself, we will put links in here in the bottom in the comments so that you can order through our bookshop.
May I interject?
Absolutely.
And if you ever want to read along with us concurrently, you can find the book club picks that we're reading on the store's social media, which is at Naughty Dog Books on Instagram, or you can find Naughty Dog Books on Facebook, or you can go to www.naughtydogBooks.com and you can see the book club picks there if you don't want to be a month behind. Although there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, absolutely not.
If you want to read with us, you can find out that way.
And we, as Best in Show Books, now have a Facebook page. And we both have Instagrams. So if you want to, we're trying. We have the Goodreads. So if you want to keep up with all things bookish with us as a channel, the store, or us individually, you can find us. And we welcome you following and chatting and commenting and letting us know what you're reading. So thank you guys again for coming today to Best in Show Books. I'm Gina.
And I'm Shelby.
Have a great day.